I've been heartbroken by a French fling. Charming, fun, a little bit impractical. And after 12 months together, it's time to say goodbye. Let's go back to the beginning. This has just arrived, my new Renault 5 long-term test car. It arrived on my birthday, April the 1st, in case you were wondering. And no, I'm not going to tell you how old I am, and yes, I do know I'm an April Fool. Anyway, it's quite a cool birthday present, isn't it? So we're going to spend the next 12 months together. 4 seasons, long drive, short drive, supermarket runs, school runs, real range testing. So I can discover if this gorgeous little French throwback is just a bit of fun, or if it has a little more depth to it. When this arrived on my doorstep last year, I thought I knew what I was getting myself in for. It would be fun for a couple of weeks. What I didn't expect was to be quite so genuinely heartbroken when it was time to say goodbye, which sadly it is. So after 381 days with the Renault 5, I'm here to tell you the good, the bad, the brilliant, the impractical, and answer the big question: should you buy one? I thought long and hard about which spec to go for and resisted the top spec. Instead, going for the mid-range Techno trim, which gets a 52 kilowatt-hour battery with a claimed range of around 250 miles. With that, you get that lovely charging indicator light on the bonnet, adaptive cruise control, a reversing camera, and more options for body colour, contrast roof and decals. The thing that really bugged me though is that you do have to go for the top spec to get heated seats. And I'm not going to lie, I have missed them in winter. So first thing you do when you get a new car is give it a name, right? You don't. That's so weird of you. I always do. And this is Yoda. Star Wars fan and all that. And of course, look, the colour, green. Couldn't be anything else. And I think this is where Renault has been very clever. So this is the entry-level colour. It's pop green. It has a very slight sparkle that you probably can't see because it's a bit dull today, but it shimmers in the sunlight. And it's just such a lovely, strong colour that you can't help but smile when you see it. The only issue I have discovered with pop green is that everybody knows where you are. So I used to get messages saying, oh, I can see you're in town, you know, want a coffee, or oh, where were you going yesterday? So if you lead some complicated double life, don't go for pop green, it's not the colour for you. I had a little boy who came up and hugged it and gave it a kiss, which nearly made me cry. Also, people have knocked on my door to ask me about it, which was a bit strange. Less strange is the fact that 2 friends have bought one because they drove in mine with me and they loved it so much. They haven't been brave enough to go for pop green though. Right, let's get on to some of the bad stuff because that's what you came for, isn't it? And I'm going to be very honest about space. So in the front, space is actually okay. Mike, who is our electrifying human ruler, had this car for a week or 2 and he's 6'4" or 6'5". He's very tall. He found it absolutely fine in the front seat. However, I have carried my 16-year-old son and mates in the back of this car and they don't love it on a long journey. I mean, teenagers moan anyway, don't they? And they were quite moany on this. Legroom isn't the problem really, because as you can see, legroom's all right, that's my driving position, it's headroom. So you're going to have to be aware of that. But on the plus side, it does mean that my weekend employment of being an unpaid Uber driver for teenagers hasn't been in that much demand, and it's gone to parents who have much larger cars. So maybe I should just keep it. Anyway, somebody who really does like it in the back of here is Ziggy. Ziggy, say hello. Hi. Hi, this is Ziggy. Ziggy loves this car because it's compact and cute like him. However, as you can see, there's no way he's going in the boot. Not much is going in that boot. So he has to have his little kind of safety carrier in here also to keep his very muddy paws off the seats. So once you factor in that, if you are a dog owner, it doesn't leave an awful lot of space. It's absolutely fine if you've got 1 teenage son and 1 dog like me, but this probably isn't going to work as a family car, so it's worth bearing that in mind. However, I do love it that much that I actually think there's a very strong case to be said for just making the kids squeeze in, and they're just going to have to put up with it. There are a couple of other big niggles, but I'm going to save those to the end because the algorithm demands that you watch the whole video. Sorry. So I love the R5 to look at, and I love the R5 inside. I think the interior is really nice, but I do think my favourite thing is behind the wheel. It is such a fun car to drive. And as I said, I've been in it for over a year now, and I still love it every time I get in and set off. It just makes me smile. If I'm having a bit of a miserable day, there's something about getting in this, turning it on, heading off, and it's just fun and small and nippy that puts a smile on my face, and you can't ask for more than that, can you? So the size obviously means it's really easy to manoeuvre, it's very easy to park, and that's something that I've really liked. Inevitably doing this job, we drive a lot of large electric SUVs, and I've spent a lot of time in them over the last 5 or 6 years. And it's been really fun to have a daily driver that is small and easy to park. And it's actually made me think that longer term, I want to stay in a smaller car. I don't want to go back to anything bigger. In terms of performance, it's got a lovely blend of feeling punchy and nippy, but it doesn't feel overly aggressive. It's not got too much punch. The power delivery is really solid right throughout the range. It doesn't seem to kind of run at a puff at all, if you know what I mean. The different driving modes are really nice. There's a little button here on the steering wheel. Eco mode does ramp it all in a little bit, but it's not too much, and you can feel the difference actually when you stick it into sport mode. It just tightens everything up a bit. I've really liked the steering. It's got a lovely feel to it. It's nice and direct. It's got a bit of weight. I really don't like overly assisted light steering, and this just really suits the car. And I like B mode. So it's here on the gear selector. That's the regenerative braking. I do kind of wish it had the paddles that you're getting in the Nissan Micra, and I suspect that those flappy paddles to give different levels of regen will come to this further down the line. But B mode itself, if I just engage it there, it slows it down, doesn't bring it to a complete stop. Well, it kind of does, but you just need to engage the foot brake at the end. But yeah, I've really liked it. I think it's a really nicely calibrated system. I've done over 8,000 trouble-free miles in the Renault 5, apart from a puncture, which was fixed easily at my local garage. It is now due a service, and Renault is doing that when it takes it back. Renault offers plans for the R5 starting at £9.99 a month for 3 years of servicing. They run up to £16.99 per month for 4 years, 1 MOT test and a year of extended warranty. If you pay for a one-off service, it's going to be around £200, around the same as a first-year service for a Renault Clio. And I was expecting less, given the lack of moving parts and oily bits. But as we know, servicing is where main dealers make a lot of their money. The Renault 5 is one of those rare cars that makes you smile when you see it. You know, I come out the door in the morning and it makes me happy. And then I open the door and get in, and the interior makes me happy. Honestly. Bravo to Renault Interior Design for putting so much thought into this interior. I have massively appreciated it over the past 12 months. I love the fact there's a really good blend of switches and buttons and screens. I like the fact there's some pops of colour in the screens. I love all the thoughtful touches. Oh, hello. Oh, okay, like this, which is a little storage box that you can buy separately as an accessory, which is very handy for keeping dog treats in. What are you doing? Go back. However, this is where I'm going to say some of the accessories are punchy. So this is, I think, 20 quid for the base and about £39 for the cover, and you can get different types of cover. And also it does mean that you lose the cup holders because it fits in there. You can get really cute covers for the gear selectors. They're 20 quid each. And of course, we've got to talk about this, haven't we? The baguette basket, which is just joyful and wonderful and beautifully made. And actually, as I have discovered over the past year, is very useful for keeping much more than baguettes in it. However, brace yourself, it costs £120. And if you buy one, you will probably notice that the passenger's knee knocks on it all the time. So it might not be for you. Personally, I've loved having it. However, they are also very hard to get hold of. What do you want? More treats? Honestly, he loves his car. Now, like I said, a couple of friends of mine have actually ended up buying Renault 5s after being driven around in mine, and they do absolutely love them. However, they both commented on the fact that the handover from the dealer wasn't that great. They weren't told about things like B mode, for example, on the gear selector, which of course is how you activate the brake regeneration. They had absolutely no idea what it was until I explained it and showed it to them. And another one couldn't figure out why, even on a full 100% charge, she wasn't getting anywhere near the claimed range into the battery. And that was because the battery was set only to charge to 80%. And again, she hadn't had that explained to her. You know, it's not really a criticism of just Renault dealers. And of course, there are loads of great dealers out there doing a brilliant job. But I do think there are still far too many that don't do a proper handover on EVs to people that are moving into them for the first time. And actually with this, one of the things I've loved about it is how easy all the EV side is to use. You've literally got a lightning bolt there. You go in there and you press it, and you can program your car to take advantage of your off-peak overnight lower energy tariffs, gives you the maximum and the minimum settings for batteries. So it is really straightforward. But it is important to point that out to people. Now, I've done quite a few longer journeys in this. In fact, I've probably done thousands of my miles on motorway driving. I've done a couple of long trips to Cornwall, I've done a couple of long trips up north, and I haven't actually embarked on that length of trip in a car with such a small battery before. And it's been way easier than I thought. Renault quotes an official figure of 100 kilowatts. I've regularly seen 90 kilowatts going into this until it gets to around sort of 65–70%. And it is one of those cars that's very easy to just stop, top up and go, which I like a lot. In terms of efficiency on the motorway, I didn't have great expectations, and I've actually been pleasantly surprised. So in summer, I've regularly got, I don't know, around 200 out of a full charge on motorway driving. That drops in winter, of course, but even with colder winter weather, I don't think I've seen less than about 170 miles out of a full battery. So what's that? It's a bit down, of course it is, but it's kind of what we'd expect in winter, and I was prepared for it to be a little bit less. All the team say that I am quite heavy with my right foot. I do not know what they're talking about. So maybe that has played into those speeds I've been getting on the motorway. Although, to be honest, I've actually used the cruise control a lot on the motorway and just kept it at a steady 70. And it's a really nice cruise control to operate, really easy to use. And yes, you get it even on this sort of techno mid-trim, which is good. Oh, the ADAS systems. So I've really liked them. They're very unobtrusive, but you are aware they are there. So the speed limit warning, you just get a little gentle beep just to remind you, which I found really nice. None of it is too much. It's quite laid back. It's very French, I think. The French quite chilled and laid back, aren't they? And that's kind of the vibe I get from the ADAS systems. They're there. They're going to remind you, but they're not going to make a fuss. They're going to let you get on with it. So yeah, bravo to that Renault, because this is honestly one of the only cars that I've driven where they haven't driven me bananas and I haven't had to search for turning them off. I've left them on most of the time, which is good, because like I said, I do have a slightly heavy right foot, maybe. After a year of motorway miles, school runs and teenage taxi duties, the R5 has quietly turned out to be one of the easiest EVs I've lived with. Now, I'm aware that this review risks making me seem like an R5 fangirl, so shall we get on to the things that I really don't like about it? Right then, let's talk about wind, because the Oda is a little windy, well, wind noisy. Yes, when you get to anything above about 50, you do get quite a lot of wind noise creeping in over the drivers and the passenger doors at the top. Yes, you can put some music on and drown it out, but it is a little bit irritating. My only other gripe is with the gear selector. So, and this isn't just unique to the Renault 5, because of course that gear selector setup is across Renault's other cars as well. It is really difficult to get it into drive and reverse. You have to be very precise, you have to be completely stopped, you have to really hold it down for that extra beat. If you're in a hurry doing a three-point turn or quickly trying to get in and out of a parking space, it is very easy to think that you have selected reverse and you haven't, you are still in drive. And I have been caught out by that a few times. I've narrowly avoided actually hitting another car. And I know that it's not just me. If you go on the forums, lots of drivers are experiencing a similar thing. Look, you do just have to be precise, and you're going to have to be aware of that when you use the car. But other than those two gripes, Yoda has been absolutely joyful to live with over the past 12 months. I genuinely can't think of another car apart from the VW Beetle that I learnt to drive in that has made me as happy as this every time I've got in it. And you can't ask for more than that, can you? I also think it is really good value for money for what you get. So I guess let's answer that question that I posed at the top. Would I advise you to buy one? Yeah, I really would. It is a cracking little car. It's clever, it transcends age groups and different demographics. Everybody loves it. Nobody has had a bad word to say about this car. I'm going to be genuinely gutted to see Yoda go. And the car that comes next, it's got a lot to live up to.